Oh, that's not the shot type. Neat. Oop. Well, meet you, my beloved. I think we skill like 67%. Maybe I should put it on right now then. Also, hello, Oz. Hope you're doing well. Yep. Really, I don't need that to have moves. Sometimes I try to have too many moves. Rule one about Saruta, don't go too wild on it. Neat. We're speeding through warm-up right now. I really want to. You can actually start here and then go down. If you want to meme around. It's alright, you throw on practice on purpose. So then in the middle of a run, you're gonna be insane. That also is pretty good. free? Literally free? Oops, it's not 2 after, it's 3 after. Early? I mean, it's not early for what I normally do on Saturday. In fact, it's on time. I always stream this early on Saturday. Well, worth noting that tomorrow, or at least over here where I am, is the end of daylight savings time. So, for those who live in locations that don't have daylight saving time, and don't change their clocks every half a year, my streams will, I believe, if I understand it correctly, essentially be an hour later, unfortunately. But that is just what it is. That will be, I believe, starting tomorrow. Damn, clean cap. That's suggest it, yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? Like, every other day of the week I stream, it's like at the same time, because that's when it's like the most convenient for me. Usually throughout the weekdays, I get off of work, and that also usually gives me like half hour, 45 minutes of being at home, chilling before I stream. So I have time in the evening, but Saturday is like the one, well, and Wednesday, but I don't stream on Wednesday. But Saturday is like the one day where I actually like do stuff in the evening. Like I'm busy in the evening. And since I don't work earlier in the day, I'm like, well, I might as well stream in the afternoon then. So that's why Saturday specifically is unique. Two in a row? Holy base! The keyboard has made me unbelievably. I'm literally broken. It's so overpowered. Okay, you know what? Never mind. Oop, that was me trying to scratch and itch and dodge at the same time. Oh, fuck, come on, rat! I did that previous dodge, and then I died of that one? I had my 2 in a row now, it's Jover. Sorry, it's Conic over. I can play vertically at times, but sometimes I play too vertically. Ooh, that's the most disgusting lineup you can see. Because realistically, I think it's best to bottom hug most of the time. And like only move up when you're trying to like get around. Like that, where I use my vertical to go above the red bullets, then back to the middle and down. So I can like get back to the center a little bit quicker, but there we go. Ugh. Okay, let's super rip it. I adjusted with my keyboard color and sensitivity earlier today, so theoretically I should be at where I want to be. Although I could adjust the sensitivity a little bit more, but I don't want to dabble with it too much because otherwise I'll be paranoid. No early fairy. Can't mean Rico, let's start off strong today. Oh, I killed her too early. Yeah, honestly, I killed her early enough that it was still a decent cancel. But what I realized on Thursday was, I was like, man, it just feels like the keyboard is like triggers its input so quickly. And it's like something I have to get used to. Turns out, I accidentally put it into hyper mode. On Thursday. I hadn't, like, because I literally plugged it in the middle of streaming and started using it. And I accidentally switched modes from the basic to hyper mode. What that did is that this keyboard, like, up to a scale of like 4.4, I assume it means millimeters, but it just says mm, but like, I could be mistaken what it's supposed to stand for. You can determine how much a button needs to be pressed in order to read that the button gets pressed. And by default, because it goes up to a max of 4 when it's fully pressed. But it turns out that by default, it's like 1.0. But since I accidentally entered a different mode because it had a different color on the keyboard, I was like, oh, I want this color, it's not as bright. Turns out that mode is hyper mode, which caused, instead of a 1.0, it was a 0.4, so it triggers me pressing the key over like, I have to put half as much pressure into a key before it starts reading it. And that would explain why it felt like I could brush on a key and it would trigger. So I changed my keyboard's color instead of being very bright rainbow to just a nice 50% brightness, dark purple. Very easy on the eyes. And then by default, the normal has a press of 1.0. I decided to drop it to 1.2 and say I could mess with it later if I feel like I need to. But I also probably shouldn't mess with it too much because I'm going to get too paranoid about it. I don't know, maybe I need 1.1. Nothing 1.5, not bad. So every key on my keyboard is currently set to a 1.2, with the sole exception being my X key. Actually, okay, I disabled my caps lock key as well. But my X key, I specifically set to 3.5, so it almost requires 3 times as much of a push in order to actually use, unlike every other key of mine. But Hino always gets better wife than Kaneko? What do you mean? What part of this is better than Kaneko? Like, I'm not going to disagree on Hina being good. Like, I think she's a pretty damn good competitor. I think she's a solid wife competitor for sure. Her looks, I mean, it's up. I don't think I could say, like, just safely that it's better than Kaneko. That seems like a loaded query. But, like, I'm not gonna say it's innately wrong. I just think it's I think she's very solid in that regard. I just don't know how. I don't think it's obvious that she's, like, better than some of the other top tiers. I did that very poorly, you know? What do you mean I talk down to Hina? I like Hina. It just, you know, she has Exile Doll, and I'm not the biggest Exile Doll fan on the market. Act a human. Keyboard difference. Make all the bad days go away. Hina brings some bad days. What are you talking about? Southern River, yeah, and passes them down to someone else. Yo, you know, we talk about, like modern humans, like, polluting the rivers and the oceans. Would you say that, say that Hina shipping misfortunes down the river is polluting the rivers? Hold up, Hina. Hold up, I can see a restricted bot in chat, hold up. Account created yesterday. Wow, I wonder if that's a bot. Crazy. Give it to the next person. seem to mind. They would mind, but they're just too busy. Fortunate one person. I mean, I just think of the meme where they're like, you have stage 1 cancer, double it and give it to the next person. This explodes. Is that part of all the same story? The story that comes to mind where I think lose all of your family from the Bible is Job, but he didn't break out boils, I believe. So I think the restriction was that the devil was supposed to touch everyone that's not him directly. Job did that. I didn't think he broke out boils. I thought the whole thing was that God told Satan not that he can touch anything, but he can't touch Job directly. The worst day of your life. That'd be a hard thing. Giving her the worst day of her life would be pretty difficult to like top some of her current days. Plus, Job got like all of his stuff back, like doubled as well. Yeah, and I don't know if you picked up all of Tina's misfortunes that she dumped. If you would get them all back. If you picked up all of her misfortunes and then ran to Tay, do you think you could, like, flip all the misfortunes around? Okay. That's the wording. I'm sorry. It's been a hot minute since I read Job. I'm not the most fresh on the wording. Fuck me. You would deal. He is a chat. That's one of those very peculiar stories for people who are familiar with stories from the Christian Bible, where, because like much of the Bible is just has a progression, right? Some dude per day. No, I mean it wasn't necessarily God. Essentially, the devil actually, like, visited God. And God asked him what he was doing, and then... effectively, it's like God taunted the devil with Job, and saying there was, like, no one as, like, pure as Job. And Satan was like, bet, and then God was like, do what you want, you can't kill him, but you can do whatever you want around him. And so, effectively, the story is Satan trying to, like, break Job's spirit, but it doesn't work. Although, I say the story, most of the book of Job, like, this is like the intro of Job. And then the entirety of it is Job, like 3 of his friends, and God just talking. And then at the very end, God gives him back, like, everything he lost, like, double. I think the most peculiar part about this story, for people who are familiar at all with the Bible, is that it's so, like, it's so just, like, randomly thrown in, it feels. Because, like, a lot of it, like, if you know the Bible, a lot of it feels like, okay, you know, you have, like, the origin of, like, the Israelites, and then there's the Moses stuff. You know, everyone's familiar with Moses. And then, you know, they get led to the Promised Land eventually. And then they start, like, instilling kings. You got David and Goliath. You got King Solomon. And then you just kind of have, like, the random off prophets before, like, the New Testament happens. For the Christian side of, you know, religion. But, like, Job just feels like the rest of the Bible feels like it's so, like, almost kind of in order. And then Job just, like, feels like it's, like, completely unrelated. Maybe not in order, but, like, related to each other. And then Job just feels like it's, like, put in there. As, like, it's not, like, because, like, a lot of it's, like, oh, a lot of the Old Testament almost feels like it's, like, okay, it's supposed to foreshadow the New Testament. And build off, like, Jesus. And then it's, like, Job is just kind of, like, there. It's like, here's a story. People, Old Testament was a wild time. New Testament, it's toned down a lot. Well, Old Testament, to be fair, it's a wild time. Also, God only killed people when he felt fit in certain situations. Where I'm going with this is when his people wanted people to be killed, he wouldn't do it. Look at you, Jonah. Jonah disobeys God, so God has a whale swallow him whole. And then Jonah repents. It's like, okay, I'll listen to you. And then he goes to do what God asked him to do. And then the people wouldn't listen to him. He's like, God, kill these people. And then he's like, nah, I'm not going to do that. It's just human nature. Turns out everyone's been having fuck orgies for the entirety of human history. Nah, yeah. You know, I feel like Christians get very hung up on a lot of the, like, the religious aspect of some of these stories, when I feel like there could be, like, a push out there if you want to get people to Christianity of, like, ignore, like, some of the Christian messaging in some of these stories. Just some of the stories themselves are, at the very least, mildly interesting. I mean, the Job one is fascinating. Sodom and Gomorrah is a peculiar story, especially if you keep following the law after that. Could you, like, not do that, Hina? Oh. Just religion, fair. I don't want to get too in depth into religious conversation, but because that can it's a little bit polarizing at times. But I will, you know, I'll dance around the outskirts. Of course, yeah. And as wild back in the old days, they weren't the only one. They certainly were. Well, from my knowledge, it's a lot of the modern religions, at least that you hear about in the West, are all similar, per se. Because you got Christianity, and Christianity is just kind of like... an extension of Judaism, per se. And then Mormonism is kind of like a alternate version of Christianity. And if I'm not mistaken, isn't Islam, like, similar? Like, don't they technically, like, believe in the same God, per se? It's just a lot of the ways they built up there is very different. Again, this is this is something I've learned, like, in high school, some stuff about this, but that would have been, like, 6 years ago. 6, 7 years ago, and I don't remember the deets. Because, to be fair, I don't think there's much of a Roman and Greek, you know, call it mythology nowadays. You know, there are people that treated that essentially as religion back in the day. Don't really see too much of that nowadays, but... I'm 23, like, I'm you know, I'm an adult, but I'm not old. It's cool, though. A lot of those stories are fairly cool. You get a lot of those, lore stories, whether they're true or not, they do tend to be a little interesting. Or at least some of them. This is a bastard. Yeah, didn't he turn himself into a swan so he could fuck some chick? Who wrote that story? Where did that story come from? Because hold. Let me act on two assumptions. I don't believe in Greek mythology, but, like, you know, let's humor something for a second, right? It's either true or it's not, right? So if it's true, it's weird. Like, there's no question about that. And also, like, if that happened, who would have, like, who the fuck wrote about that? And second of all, if it's not true, who the fuck thought it up? Like, that's what I want to look at. Like, I don't want to sit here and argue over, like, oh, which religion, you know, is certain religions real, true or not. I want to sit here and look at, okay, logically it's either true or it's not. So, like, regardless of context, who the fuck did that? Because even back then, I mean, they exist nowadays. Stores, I've been in them a few times. Manga was bad. You know, here's one thing I've always said, and it's not that it's wrong per se. Anime as a whole kind of gets treated as, like, man, it's kind of weird sometimes with it, especially some of the sexualization stuff. Like, man, it's kind of weird. I'm like, you know, that is true, but then I look elsewhere. I'm like, is it the only thing? It's milking bar. What are you talking about? Shame? No shame. There is no shame in the world. How dare you try to shame people? You shouldn't kink shame unless your shame is kink shaming. Paradoxes. Probably a bit long. Instead of sending a link, can you send me like can you just like give me a basic line of like what the link is you're trying to send, and just for conversation purposes, instead of sending the link and I'll just believe you. I'm in the middle of... I'm not in the middle of Keen. I just beat Keen. I'm in the middle of a run! I'm not gonna look at Minotaur milking farm in the middle of a run. I mean, here's one game glitcher. You don't hang around much during the IA Ace Attorney games, but you know the guy who made the IA Ace Attorney games also made a number of Touhou porn games as well before he disappeared from the internet. Same dev. So his old website they used to have, it's not around anymore, I don't believe. Just have those on there. Act a human. Hour 20. Even if it does last an hour 20, I mean, I'm gonna like move on and still play Branch afterwards, so I'm not being done streaming an hour 20. Oh, bad wiggle. Some shame. You know, I'll agree to that some degree. What is that? Why did you put... Why did you put this in the main chat, the Discord? Oh, I saw this in a Contained from Mature Thieves. No shit. I saw this in like a meme the other day. Fuck, I scrolled down, I see frequently bought together. Moon-blooded breeding clinic. Oh, fuck. I'm reading this description. Oh my gosh, I should have read this. I wouldn't call it mainstream. I found it like there's like one other Discord besides my own engage with. It's a pretty niche thing. Good grief. See, I just rather talk about eggs. With those global reigns. I mean, I've never gone looking at sales metrics, but like, I assume you can buy dildos or fleshlights on Amazon. I wonder what the sales numbers on some of those could be. Yeah. Isn't there a fourth one? I know there's 3. Should buying that first. Well, I would never buy it because I'm not into that type of thing. I hate to break it to you. Well, isn't My Hero Academia, like, in, like, its Japanese name, Boku no something? I feel like I've heard that before. I've never watched My Hero Academia, but, like, I know people who have. I think it is. Just to buy it. I'm scared to ask what Pico then stands for. You don't have to look. We can move on to get back to talking about egg laying. My Pico, is that like a play on Dick? He's a character? Oh, that's boring. Lost a little bit too much faith there because I killed the green guys too quickly. So it could mean Dick? What do you mean it could mean Dick? Like it has like 5 different meanings. It could be whatever you want it to. I gotta sneeze. Yo, pausing mid-run, I'm rigging the run. A little on faith, but I'm still at 70.5. Pika, okay. Lonely, effeminate boy, okay. Hate the long time ago. Dude, why be a twink effeminate boy when you can be the most masculine female you could pick? Like, bro's never seen a more masculine Hatsune Miku in his life. Yeah, here I am here flexing on these fools. Well, exiling they doll. Yo, this keyboard is actually broken. I'm so sick of this. I guess I didn't sign out either. But the good news is I almost never ever go on Amazon. I very rarely use that. I guess like this time of year I might a bit. No, I don't make a. I'm not gonna make a habit of doing that. I mean, Halloween, obviously, I'll do it, but I'm not making a habit of cosplay, personally. I will say the picture doesn't do it justice. The picture does not do the outfit justice. It actually went really hard. So speaking of which, I want to ramble briefly about this. So yesterday, you know, I go to hang with my buddies. We hang out like all evening yesterday. We usually do this on Halloween. We hang out, we dress up, we hang out, yada yada. So I'm at home. I get all of my Miku stuff on. That took like 40 minutes, by the way, to get everything ready to go. And the worst part is the thing that took the longest was the tie. Act a human. It wasn't any other part of the outfit, it was the tie. Hide your face. I have no shame. That's not true. I have some shame, but... Fuck it, I am not good at tying ties. I spent like 20 minutes trying to get that tie on. want to see it. I put it in the Discord. A picture of me in it. Go with the Tango chat. I told Spooter, well, I've mentioned it before that I was going to Miku, and Spooter's like, you gotta take a picture. I was like, I will. I also took a picture because I wanted to send to a couple of my friends that weren't there. Kigurumi mask? What is that? What is a Kigurumi mask? Oh, is that one of those, like, anime-looking masks? Maybe I'll have to get one myself. Fuck me. Me on my way to do wall fairies just god-awful every fucking time. That's a mask you gotta keep clear, I can imagine. Never use one myself, obviously, but... Anyway, so I go to put, like, to get the outfit on, and it, like I said, took like 40 minutes to put on. Like, half of that was on the tie, and like 15 minutes of that was on the hair. I've never worn a wig before. And also, I picked one of those complicated wigs, because, like, there's, like, the main part I gotta put on. That took a while. But then also, like, the twin tails on Miku. Those aren't actually a part of the main, like, hair body. Those are, like, additional things you have to, like, connect on there. So then I had to figure out how to do that as well. So that took, like, me, like, 40 minutes. And then I go hang out, go down to my buddies. And that's, like, half an hour away. So here I am driving. This is, 5 o'clock at this point. And it's still plenty bright out at 5 o'clock right now. And also, there's, like, kids everywhere. Like, there are trick-or-treaters everywhere. I'm just driving. I gotta slow down, be careful about them. You know, you don't want to hit someone on Halloween. Especially because there's people everywhere. There's cars everywhere. And so here I am, just sitting in the front of my car, just, like, in a full Miku getup. I didn't see much other in terms of, like, anime-related things, although I did see one group of kids. There was 3 of them. They probably were, like, 10. Okay, these 3 kids, but they are all Demon Slayer outfits. And, like, they were all in. The wig, outfit, everything, so... Massive respect to them. But then I show up at my at my friend's place. And... I see he's not there. I'm like, oh, fuck. I messaged. It turns out he went down the street to see his grandparents or something. And he was going to be back there in a minute. And I asked him, is your front door unlocked? And he didn't respond. And so I'm sitting there in the... like, my car is in his driveway. I'm like... like, there are, like, dozens of kids on the street. I'm like, do I just wait in my car here? And, like, don't get out, go in? I could try to go in. I don't know if his house might be unlocked, because he knew I was coming. But, like, I don't want to get out, full Miku outfit, go out to the door, have it be locked, and then... Who knows? So I'm, like, sitting there, and I'm unsure what to do. And then eventually, I pull out the driveway. I just do, like, 2 loops around the neighborhood. And then my friend got back and we went inside. It's a good place, yeah. Well, that's the other thing. Like, just, like, since my friend wasn't there for a little bit, he had a candy bowl outside. And he was just a sign there, so... of handing out candy, he was just... kids were just coming by and taking it. But so, like, I'm in, like, the driveway, there's constantly, like, kids going up there grabbing that. And, like, I don't want to, like, get out and, like, go in... because, like, if the door was unlocked, it'd be fine. But I didn't want to, like, get out, go up to the door, and just have it be locked. And then just stand there, especially with, like, how many people were out and about there. Because that's a very big, residential area there. Oh, very big is putting it mildly, but... one of the biggest residential areas in the area, so, like, most of the kids go trick-or-treating in that location. I'm gonna lose so much faith here. I don't want to just, like, go up to the door. Male servant? I don't know. Boy conversation. Why is the conversation about femboy? I'm very secure in my masculinity. I'm not a femboy. I'm not one of those guys. I'm not sitting here when I'm streaming wearing thigh highs. Okay, yeah. You really didn't have to scissor me like that. Is that something better, like Kato? First of all, shut your mouth. Yeah, how dare you come at me with that disgusting rhetoric? Holy shit. There are some songs that I've heard that I like the Tato version more than Miku, but for the most part, how fucking dare you slander Miku like this? Second of all, I like Miku. And third, actually, if I was going to go with something else, it probably would have been something Touhou related. But the reality is, it was a lot easier and quicker to get my hands on something Miku related than it was to get anything else. So, like, maybe next year I'll try to do something Touhou based, but that's the other reality. Is I only start prepping for this like a month ahead of time. And Miku is like the easiest, the best go-to for that. If I want to do something else, I would have to like start prepping a lot more ahead of time. Yeah. I don't know. I could do Ooh, I'll go about that in a second. I could do Kaneko. I don't know for Touhou-wise, like who would be the best to go to. I mean, obviously, I kind of want to do Reimu. Not because Reimu's my favorite, per se, but just because, like, I kind of feel like I got it at some point. Chess. Well, that's another thing about going as Miku, is that she doesn't really have boobs. So, like, I don't need to get any fake boobs to, like, try to sell it off even more. Depends what? Depending on the artist? Miku versions, you got a point there. I could go as Ron, but then I'd have to figure out how to handle the Nine Tails. Mulder felt like you're so sorry. Oh, you mean like every Touhou character? She having 9 giant tails. I know, that's so hot. Like that. I know the Miku stuff. Don't worry. I'm just making a joke. I'm very familiar with Miku. Don't worry. Jokes? Yes, jokes. Anyway, what I was going on was I was getting lunch early because I was at work, and my work is not a place for people dressing up, so like no one there was in costume. But like if you go around town, there's a number of places that have people in costume. And I went to lunch. There's a place for on Friday that I usually go to, my favorite places. I go there almost every Friday, but and I go in. It's like all the servers are like, oh, they're all in outfit. They're like it's and I'm not throwing shade, but like generally they're there's a few of them. Pretty standard Halloween outfit, which is fine. No shame in that. I think it's cool that, you know, they're at work as servers and they're dressing up a little bit. But this one guy, and I recognize him all the time I'm there. And he always sees me and gets me what I want because I always order the same thing. And I've talked to him a fair few times, but I show up and he is in full Prince getup. The Prince, like Purple Rain Prince. I really should have taken a picture because his getup was phenomenal. He was rocking that thing so fucking well. Don't bumper my crop, please. You've really liked the bumper my crop over the last few, And, like, I'm not a Prince fan by any means, but, like... Fuck me. Not Prince like that, I'm talking Prince the singer. So I said Purple Rain. Like I said, I'm not, like, a big Prince fan, but, like, he was rocking that getup really well. And like I said, all the others were pretty basic outfits, but his was full on. I'm like, I'm impressed that you're working in that. Halloween is such a fun holiday. Like, I'm not the biggest Halloween, like, fan per se. But I always just enjoy seeing people, like, just go out of their way to dress and stuff. And just, you know, having fun like that. Goes around. Most of my, basically all of my friends don't even know who Ron is because they're, like, their main, like, avenue of knowing Touhou is Misty's Izakaya, and Ron's not in that. So they know Yukari and Jen, but they're not familiar with Ron. Ron Shaba! Anyway, yeah, and this is why you're a bad person. See, you're the dude that walks into a restaurant Halloween, sees, like, the servers dressed up, you're like, fucking losers, dude. Can't believe they're dressed up like this. Wow, how mature. Fucking suck, dude. You're the one who grabs a baseball bat and tries to beat up anyone dressed up as Flan. That USD dress-up's unbelievable. Take him out. Dude, can we, like, can I just, like, not get bumper cropped? I know the time before that was my own fault completely, but still. I was doing so well, and now bumper is just cropping me. At home? I mean, I eat at home 90% of the time. Well, okay, that's not necessarily true. Because, like, I eat dinner at home, like, all the time. But, when I work, and so I gotta get lunch at some point, and I'm not gonna fucking eat at work. So I just go out and usually just fast food or something somewhere, but on Friday I'll actually go to a restaurant. For branch day? I don't actually know. I think it's someone's B. I think it might be Sakuya B, no swap. And then maybe Chino B, no swap if it's quick enough. Although I don't actually know Faux Show off the top of my head. What was the last run I did? I know I'm somewhere around there. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if it is... What did I do last? I know for sure I did Reimu B, no swap last time. I don't know if I did Marissa for sure or not. Hey, it'd only be 6 times because I'm not playing swap starting item. Okay, I did do a Marissa B run. Yeah, last time I did Reimu B and Marissa B, so... Is D Sakuya B time. No swap. Koichi A or Sakuya B? Koichi A. Sakuya B swap starting item might be worse than Koichi A swap starting item. But no swap, it's definitely Koichi A. Sakuya B has her problems, absolutely. But no one's base deck is worse than Koichi A's. It's just that Sakuya B has such a good starting exhibit that like you kind of need a Sakuya B that like losing that's like is a big issue. See, anyway, the moral of the story for Halloween, guys, don't be that guy. Be the fun guy. Don't be that guy. Like Game Butcher. Yeah, I baited that really badly. Koichi B takes the strong parts about Koichi A and makes it better. Like, the fact that you can, for 2 mana, deal 31 damage with Koichi B and not take double damage. She's their cards more fun. The thing, Koichi has a hard time scaling, but the advantage that Koichi B has over A is just her starting deck is so much better. I'm not going to pretend that she's great, per se, but her starting deck is just so much better. Starting deck. I already mentioned starting deck when I was just talking about Sakuya B and Koichi A. What's your problem with it? It's a massive part of the characters. Serenity, which is fair to a degree, but the problem is like being able to pivot to passion and out of passion. It's so like you can do it. Like you can have disgustingly good turns with Koichi A, but she's so inconsistent with it. Like sometimes you just draw the passion card and like no damage and no Serenity, so it's like, what are you doing? It's like, sure, you could play your 1 damage card you have in hand. It would activate Passion, but you can't do anything with it. And then you'll just take double damage. Smart Speaker doesn't even solve that issue. Because you're still relying on drawing other things. Like, just drawing the Passion card isn't enough. And also the fact that this stage 1 is just killing me right now. And also the fact that the Serenity card does have really bad block for mana, at least before it's upgraded. Also, Smart Speaker's too expensive. Even if you found Smart Speaker Shop 1, it's not like you could afford it. I will say, inside of all my Koshi A complaining, that last Koshi A run I had might be like my favorite though. Like the triple Dank Dancer and the DNA's Flawed Dream. Absolute beautiful combo. Early Fairy. So DNA's Flaw, I like it. Especially now, since they buffed it to 6 damage instead of, what was it, 4? I mean, it's situational. A bit, but I think it's all around fairly solid. And, like, on that run, it did so much work. Like, so much of my strength in that run came down to if I could get, what is it, Flossie the Despise? Is that the card, or is it a different one that, look at the top, like, 2 or 3 cards, play twice and exile it? Double the DNA's Flaw, and then you have, like, two copies of upgraded Dank Dancer, and then you just deal a billion poison to everything. That was the fundamental game plan of that run. Oh, you have to do art? Yes, I did. That one's really good art. That might be my favorite of the new arts. Although maybe some of that's just because its old art was so basic. I know you can still access it, of course. I can't believe they got rid of Koishi's Naked Body. What is wrong with me? I can't believe they got rid of Naked Koishi. They add new art for self-control. You can still use the old art, so it's not like it's gone. You can switch over if you want. So if you want your Naked Koishi, you can do that. But I can't believe they changed that. Oh yeah, that new design is really good. Oop. Crazy. I don't particularly care too much about that name change. I'm gonna go pee. I'll be right back in a minute. Why did I go to the bathroom right as you raid me? This is unbelievable. Big unfair. Thank you, Georgie, for the raid. I appreciate it. No, Walrus, Chicken Butt, Apricus, Bama, Our, and anyone else. Run for a great time. I know, the moment I decide, you know what? I'm playing like shit right now. I need to go take a minute break to go Or even a big mommy fairy? I mean... Thanks, Late General. I mean, the big fairy at the end of Stage 6 of this game is kind of bad, though, if you know what I'm saying. Big emo. See, I'm glad you appreciate it. Some people don't, and that saddens me. Which game has the best fairies? Depends on who your favorite fairy is, right? Like, obviously, Great Fairy Wars has the most. So, like, there's a fair chance, there's a fair way to say that Great Fairy Wars has the best fairies. Personally, I've always been a Larva fan, so I might have to say Hidden Star. Actually, Hidden Star even gets more credit because Cheerno's in it. So you have Eternity and Cheerbo. So that might have the best fairies. Although if you're talking about the unnamed ones, I don't pay enough attention to the looks of the unnamed fairies. I'm sorry. You like the zombie fairies? I mean, I think the zombie fairies are cute. I don't like having to deal with them. Also, oh, hello, Alan. Alan, I want to say I solved the keyboard issue. So I hadn't actually, like, properly set up my keyboard yet and everything. I was like, man, it feels like it's just... Like, I feel like the inputs are just going so quickly. And I looked in, and because by default, effectively, the button gets, like, fully pressed at, like, a 1.0 input. Or, like, 4.0, I'm not going to go through the specifics, but it's, like, millimeter, I think, input. Like, that's the basic. But I accidentally hit a mode button that caused it to go into hyper mode, to cause everything to be read at a 0.4 input. Oop, I walked right into it. So everything was like getting input by like the most basic of small like pushes. And I realized, that must be what was throwing me off. Good spell design. Hit up the emote. Where's the good spell design emote? Hello? But I realized that my inputs were too quick. So I went through, I just things how I feel like they should be. And now it should be good. Hopefully. And I started off by having a couple of solid runs. And I have done nothing but die to bumper crops since. Like Volcarona? I can't say I looked too deep into them because the fairies in Stage 5 are like of UFO are so terrifying that I don't have time to enjoy the look of them. So I missed two. My best run to date is to Divine Virtues base. Prop is TAS only, that's that and Hydro Camouflage. Do they put on? Do fairies put on makeup? I guess if the zombies, fairies must. Or at least they must have like some sort of like mask or something. Actually, now that I think about it, do the zombie fairies' faces like look different? I can't say I've looked too closely at them. I know obviously like they have a different look than the other fairies. I can tell you that much. Those are some pretty subpar cancels, you know, I must say. Score world record pace is Minori over. Could you just stop? Like, oh yeah, I guess I didn't think about the lilies. So I guess per se, Clown Piece is almost cosplaying herself, right? Not cosplaying as herself, but you know, the whole reason she dressed as that, right, was to try to intimidate the Lunarians, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, the question is, did that actually piss them off, though? You know, I haven't read the books, I haven't seen all the dialogue from Law K, so I don't know if any of the Lunarians do any of the Lunarians in Touhou ever actually comment on her outfit? Yeah, Game Glitcher, you're the one with lore knowledge. What's the answer? Surely you have the answer on the top of your head right away. I guess the secondary question is, did any of the Lunarians actually see Clown Piece? Because they had to leave because, you know, they couldn't, like, touch them because they'd become impure. So, like, did they just, like, run away from Clown Piece? Before they even, like, would see her outfit? Whoa, 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 there. Whoa! I mean, well, that was the whole thing about LOL-K, right? They couldn't... Because Junko, like, purified the fairies, right? And then, the Lunarians couldn't fight them. So, it, like, you know, at the end of the day, Reimu had to come up and take care of it because none of the fucking Lunarians knew how to handle this problem. Well, that's too bad. That's like every Touhou incident is, Guys, there's a problem. Just send Reimu on it. How do we convince Reimu to handle this incident? Gane actually being cooperative? Lunarians? I mean, probably depends on the Lunarian, right? Right? Not every Lunarian is your Hime levels of power. Be dead? No, she wanted to be dead. I should have gone for a middle line there. Remember, never speak too soon. If there's anything that is going to kill you on Hina, you know, ignoring non-1, whatever, some randomness that can happen there, it's always exile. No early fairy SMH. Oh, don't grab all that stuff. Okay, I lost a bit more faith than I should have. I also graded a bit more points than I should have. Just the high score run is Jover. I'm sorry, it's Minari Cover. Okay, don't bump me. Breath. There's my bumper crop moment. Ugh. Well, I was like, I just gotta get used to it, and then I didn't actually do it yesterday because I was barely at my computer. But today, early this morning, I was like, oh, I should actually like try to look at. I assume there's ways to set it up, and then I found there's a whole thing where I can set up and mess with everything. So the first thing I did was disable the caps lock button. I mean, I looked into that all type of thing. The problem, my biggest concern right now is because. One of the first things I did was I turned the color to dark purple, solid dark purple on my keyboard, and then turned the brightness down to like half. So it's not, like, it doesn't stand out that much. But my biggest problem is I can adjust how, like, much I push down on the key before it, like, registers the key, right? I can pick anywhere from 0.1 to 4 mm. I assume that means millimeter. But to be honest, it could be some other lingo I'm not familiar with. And the default was 1.0 with the hyper settings being 0.4. But the problem is, I don't know exactly like what I want to set. Yeah, I put it on. I spam caps lock when I'm playing Touhou all the time. Like I got like my fingers on Shift and a Z. And, like, I'm just constantly, like, with my, like, ring finger, my middle finger, just moving up and pressing the caps lock button. Especially sucks because, like, every keyboard has, like, a light that, like, comes on. And it's like, hey, caps lock is on! And, like, just keep turning the light on and off and on and off is just, I just keep doing it. So I disabled the caps lock key because, like, when else am I actually, realistically, ever using caps lock for its intended purposes? So, I still press it, like, all the time, but it's not as, like, distracting without there being a light associated with it. But, my caps lock to bomb. Well, I was gonna say, so I set all of my inputs to 1.2, I'm assuming millimeter. With the exception of the X key. I decided that for X, I'm going to put it to 3.6. So it's it requires 3 times as much input to actually trigger. So I don't want to just disable X key. But I want to make sure I don't accidentally, not that I ever, like, really do that. Oh, fuck you, you piece of shit! Come on, I get past that one, I'm out. That's weird to have that as a path button. You know, what else is new? Actually, that's not necessarily new for today. My early runs were going great. It's like, if I was getting bullied, it was Hydro. Or Wall Fairies. Or Luigi. And then I stopped being able to play. Anyway, what I was saying is, The thing that, like, is in the back of my head now that's gonna make me paranoid is I'm not sure exactly what I want my inputs to be. Like, how much do I want to make it register a press? Right? The default was 1.0. I briefly messed around with 1.5, and then I moved it to 1.2, and I decided I will stick with that. I was actually practicing off-stream with it. And, I got like 4 in a row on Divine Virtues. I was like, 1.2 is the GOAT. That's what I gotta do. But there's the thought in the back of my head where I'm like, I don't know what's optimal, you know? I don't know what I'm gonna be the best with. But I also don't want to be the guy that sits there every 5 seconds, like, changing my sensitivity. Like, oh, this one's gotta be better. Keys my pawn press. I mean, I could have it so it only registers full inputs. That sounds like a bad idea, though. Like, realistically, like, it would theoretically be better to have them register on lower inputs. But, like, I'd have to get so used to that. Like, that would take so long to get used. Because, like, all of my Touhou time has been played on keyboard where the button is either pressed or it's not. There's no, like, partial input. And that's, like, 7 years of, like, not all the time playing Touhou, but 7 years of learning to play Touhou. And so, like, trying to change it so much at once sounds like a terrible idea. I mean, you really didn't have to. I mean, this is only the second time since I started playing Touhou that I've actually changed keyboards as well, so... So basically what I'm saying is that any and all of my failures today can be completely blamed on the keyboard. It's the keyboard's fault. Alright, learn a new keyboard, that's what it is. Like the fact that it ultimately feels almost the same. Oh, don't move all the way over there. I'm not gonna get the early ferry now. Okay, this time for sure, Minrinko. Okay, wide open into wide open. Okay, that's wide enough. I gotta make sure if I want to keep my faith up when I go to the right, I actually pick up like a point item on the way or something. Otherwise I lose some faith in the middle section. Neat. Okay, this time for sure, Hina. Go wrong? A lot of things. But nothing will go wrong. Surely. Why is there that stray red bullet sometimes? Thing that happens, so true. Hey, look at this. Look at all these wide open holes. See, it's actually free. Okay, now time for Hydro Camouflage. The actual problem. Hack a human. Okay, this time for sure. Fuck you! Oh, why was it like that? I hate you. You want to go middle? No, there's no path down the middle. You want to go left? No, it's cucked on the left. You want to go right? No, it's cucked on the right. I love Hydro Camouflage. Wait, that's just the wrong attack for me to be doing. Stunned and bummed it. I don't blame you. Hydro Camouflage is the attack that makes me not hate Exile Doll. Because I probably hate Exile Doll, or maybe even Momiji, but I don't. Because it's like, I just look at them, I'm like, this isn't as bad as Hydro. I don't hate it as much. Hey, we got the early fairy. Plus 100 faith, so huge. You know, I wonder over the course of a run, an additional 100 faith on stage 1, how much that actually, like, how much score that relates to. Well, because realistically, it's a variable question, because, like, if you gray out point items, then that affects some things, right? And, like, at some point, like, if you never die, at some point you're gonna hit max faith anyway, so it's like, how much does that extra 100 get you? Your score, at least you're not low to your god. Oh, I'm so funny sometimes. And spell card bonuses. Oh, I always forget it affects spell card bonuses. How does it affect spell card bonuses? Because obviously it just affects point items like 1-to-1. Like your point item value is the exact same as your faith value. As long as you pick it up on the top of the screen, that is. Look at that great point item. By the way, despite being a survival run, I don't actually have to do any of that. I just do it because it maximizes faith gain. And it helps me stay sane on stage 2. Damn, pretty fucking high score for this point. Or high faith, I should say. I'm actually so faith-filled right now. If I become a prophet. Trying to make Hanako so proud. Faith in myself. I do have faith in myself. That doesn't mean I have faith in Hydro Camouflage, Exile Doll, Momiji, Saruta Cross. Honestly, really just Hydro Camouflage. Like, sometimes it's nice to me, and sometimes it's not. There's really no other way to put it. But who cares about Hydro Camouflage when he is on your screen? That was not the best I've ever done. I didn't pick up those oh, dude, world record pace is Jover. Double faith bonus on spell cards? We'll take your word for it. And if it's wrong, then I will come at you for it. And I'll say that Alan was spreading false information. POC spell card bonus? I don't want to think about what would happen to score runs if that was the case. That was a little too panty, but it worked. Remember, always bottom hug only. 3% damage increase, actually huge. Okay, I'm like... No, I was about to say I'm like 1 and 3 on Hydra. I'm actually like 2 and 4 on the day. No, I'm like 2 and 5. That was bad faith generation. Lost a lot there. So much for a good faith pace. Act a human. Oh, I fucking hate. Why? I fucking hate this attack so unbelievably much. Bullets are on the left, go to the right. Just kidding, they're also on the right. Why can't she just go to the ceiling and make my life easier? No, don't bait her back to the right. No, my early fairy is gone. Minus 100 faith. Okay, once again, Minuriko. Okay, 215 here is pretty sick. Nice. Oops! Fucked up my timing there. Hold on, let me go get one more drink before I finish her off. Bum, bum, bum. This time for sure. Okay, game, you got like 10 more minutes from me before I move on to branch. Do your worst. Oh, it's so aggressive too. Or did she move just a little bit too much? Oh, what? I picked that up too early. I wonder what the biggest cancel I can realistically get with this attack is. Can't get a cancel if you back into the bullet. Nope, that's not what I'm trying to click on. Literally easier than Hydro Camouflage. It's unbelievable. I just have to do that a couple times to piss myself off. Sure, I can do that, but God forbid I get out of the early game. That's not possible. This ain't getting an early parry. Game, I'm running out of patience. You know what? Now that I think about it, if I really wanted to maximize faith gain, without bombing, of course, instead of trying to kill it early to get that plus 100 faith, it's probably better just to try to time my cancel at the very end. Should cancel it earlier. Because I've just treated it with the mindset that if you cancel it early enough, you know, you get the extra fairies, which in turn will get you extra faith drops, which is really relevant on Hina. Hina's mid-spell, but it's not really as relevant here, I don't think, now that I contemplate. I was like 21, too. So I'm sure you could probably delay the cancel. Speaking of bad cancels, minus 3,000 faith. Why? Why? Oh. It was all so good earlier for like 20 minutes. I didn't even think about that time you cancel. I was thinking about it prior. I was like, ooh, maybe I should look to delay it, and then I just didn't think about it in the middle of the attack. There we go. That's the cancel on one you want to see. It's like the frame that she summons the blue bullets. Pain. Hey, we got it. But eventually, really. I gotta stop doing one mores at this point. I just gotta cut my losses and wait till tomorrow. Okay, early fairy again. That was okay if canceled, but shoots a bit too much in the corner. Okay, that was a really good cancel. Okay, one more. Hello, Toaster. Brett. Okay, that was a really bad cancel, but we lived, so... Now the runs, they were very briefly earlier good. Very briefly. Like 20 minutes of solid. And since I've been getting bullied from the early game. My final run, though, for now. Rip. Hey, it's not rip till the run's over. It's not rip till I die. You know, 395's not bad here. It's not great, but it's still not bad. In spite of my bad bumper. Okay, you know, one more for the road. Come on. You know you want to. Me on my way forget to go collect all my coin items there. Whoa, whoa! God, dude, the Ogane usual. You try to pick every fucking worst line on Ogane. It's fine, it's fine. I played too far to the right there for a second, so she didn't die quick enough. I also didn't bomb hug as long as I needed to. It was literally the last bullet. Okay, I'm gonna move on to branch. I shouldn't keep pushing it right now. If it's not going great, just come back tomorrow. What we do.